So I go to Table of Contents, 2.1, go down to the exercises, and find the problem 31 from 2.1. So 2.1.31. The instructions are to create a frequency distribution and a frequency histogram. And I see that I have 21 sales representatives, so N is 21, and the number of classes must be 6. So I also will have to describe any patterns when I'm done. So I have to do some work by hand here. I have to figure out the class limits. So I've got to figure out the smallest and the largest, the max minus the min, and divide by the number of classes, which it said was 6, and figure out my class limits. And then I have to calculate my midpoints and my frequencies. So this part I absolutely have to do by hand. So the two things I need here are the midpoints. I'm going to put those in L1, and the frequencies, I'm going to put those in L2. So stat, edit, put the midpoints in L1. Then when I'm done with the midpoints, I'm going to arrow over to list 2 and enter the frequencies. At this point, it's a good idea to pause and double check your answers. This is usually where I make a mistake, is data entry. Second quit gets me back to the home screen, but my data's still in list 1 and list 2. Then I'm going to hit stat, calc, one variable statistics. Now, if you have an older calculator, you'll just see the words one variable statistics, and you'll have to do the same thing. Second L1 is where I put my midpoints, and the frequency list is second L2. See the little L2 button there? Now I'm going to scroll down. Now, if you have an older calculator, you'll say second L1, comma, second L2, and then hit enter. And now I've got all kinds of important information. X bar is the mean. I do not want you to use the formulas. A lot of you use the formulas. Notice the calculator helps you use the formulas. It does the sum of all the x's and the sum of all the x squareds. But I don't want you to use the formula. Professional statisticians use computers, and in order to use all of the formulas in statistics, you really have to understand calculus, and that's not what this course is about. Now, this SX is the standard deviation for a sample. S is for sample, and sigma here, that's the Greek letter X, that's the standard deviation for a population. How's your calculator supposed to know whether you have a sample or a population set of data? You have to know that and choose which one that you want. Now, if I scroll down, it says N equals 21. The minimum is 1509. Well, that's the smallest. And Q1, Q2, Q3 is all listed right here. We're not using the 5-number summary for this problem, are we? So second quit gets me back to the home screen. Now I'm going to get the calculator to do the histogram for me. Second, stat plot. All the plots are off, which is good. I want to enter plot 1 and turn plot 1 on. I don't want a dot plot. I don't want a line graph or an ogive. I want the bar chart. It's actually a bar chart, not a histogram. Or once I choose that, notice the screen changed. I put my midpoints in list 1. I'm going to have to come down here. Instead of frequency being 1, this is like a grouped frequency or a weighted mean calculation. Second L2 puts the frequencies there. And now if I want the calculator to appropriately size the graphing window, I want to go to zoom. See down here 9, zoom stat. That's what my histogram will look like. So then I can actually use my calculator and transfer the graph. At the highest it's going to be is 11, so I can make my y, or the vertical axis, go up to 12 or even 11. I'm using midpoints. So the first midpoint was 1509, the second midpoint was 2529. So I can just write those in, but the basic shape of my graph is the same. I know what the heights are because I can read them off my table. And if I'm looking at this, it's high and then it falls, so it's right skewed. Remember, the skew refers to the tail. The graph shows that most of the sales are between 1,000 and 2019. And if I look back at my class limits, I can see that's the highest frequency at 11.